Hi, welcome to Maths Made Simple number 1 by Dr. Scott. Today we're going to talk about circles. If you know what a circle is and you can count to 10, you can figure out just about anything with a circle. So a circle is a perfectly round thing, as you know, and it has a centre. And the distance from the centre out to the edge or the circumference, so this is the circumference that goes all around the circle. So C equals the circumference. The distance from the centre to the circumference is the radius, or R. So R equals the radius of the circle. R is always the same anywhere around the circle. If you had a circle like that, that's not a circle because the distance from the centre to the edge or the circumference is not equal. So here we have a perfect circle. The distance from the centre to the edge or the circumference is the radius, and the same the other way, of course. That will also be another radius. You can see that radius plus radius can be a straight line that's then called the diameter. So the line all the way from one edge of the circumference to the other through the centre of the circle is called the diameter. That's called D, so we'll call it D, make it logical. So you can see that D, the diameter, equals R plus R, which equals 2 times R. And we often write that in a shorter way by just saying 2R. So 2R equals D. Now if you get the diameter, you'll find if it was a piece of string and you stretched it around the edge of the circumference, you'd find it would go 3 and a bit times around the circle. So that would be one diameter, another diameter, another diameter, and a bit more. Someone really smart worked out that the diameter goes around 3.14 times. That number is called pi. So 3.14 times the diameter equals the circumference. 3.14 is a shortened version. The decimals of this number go on forever, believe it or not. And what the mathematicians did, they call this number a very special name. It's called pi. And they abbreviated it to this. So pi equals 3.14, approximately. So 3.14 times the diameter is exactly how many times the diameter goes around the edge of the circle or the circumference. And then, so they said, well, if you know the diameter, can you figure out how far it is around the circle or the circumference? Well, as we've just said, the circumference equals pi, or 3.14, times D. And you can see that that also equals pi times R plus R. Which equals pi times 2R, which equals 2 pi R. That is 2 times pi times R. So you can say the circumference of the circle equals pi times D, or 2 pi R. In maths, mainly, you'll see it written as circumference equals 2 times pi times R. which they usually write as 2 pi r. So that is the circumference of a circle. That's one of the main formulae you'll get in maths. So if you know the radius or the diameter, you can work out the circumference of the circle. But one of the other things is, if the circumference equals 2 pi r, and they said to you, well, the circumference equals 20, say, centimetres, and they say, what is the radius of the circle? If it's 20 centimetres around the circle, or the circumference, how long is r? Well, it equals, as we know, circumference equals 2 pi r, so 20 equals 2 times pi times r. So if we divide both sides by 2, which we can do because we're timesing everything here, so we divide 20 by 2 equals pi times r. So 10 equals pi r, or times r. So now we divide both sides by pi, which we know is a number, 3.14 approximately. So 10 divided by 3.14 equals r. So that's how you work out what r is. You just do that on your calculator. So if you've got a circumference, you can work out the radius. If you've got a radius, you can work out the circumference. If they said, what is the diameter? Well, it's the diameter. Remember, the diameter equals 2 times r. It's just 2 r's together. So, don't forget this, circumference equals 2 pi r, and you can work out just about anything, knowing a radius or a diameter or a circumference. Now, someone might say to you, well, if the radius equals 12 centimetres along here, what is the area of this circle? How many square centimetres is it? Well, there's another formula for the area of a circle. The area equals pi times r, which equals pi r squared, because r times r equals r squared. That's what r squared is. So the area equals pi r squared. So if you have a radius, you can figure out the area of the circle. So just going back over everything, with a circle, we know that the distance from the centre is the same out to the circumference wherever you go. It's always the same. That's always the same, that's called the radius. The radius plus a radius is the diameter. That's from one side of the circle to the other side that goes through the centre. That is the diameter. And you can work out the circumference, and you can work out two other things. You can work out circumference equals 2 pi r, that's one of your main formulas, and the area of a circle equals pi r squared. So in this one down here, up here where I said radius equals 12 centimetres, so the area would equal pi times 12 squared, which equals pi times 144. That's what the area will be. So that's the end of the lesson today. That's enough. So we can work out the area of a circle, pi r squared, or we can work out the circumference, 2 pi r. And everything is based on this amazing number pi, which I will talk about later in other tutorials. But that's circles just done simply. I hope it helped you understand. Thank you.